White House Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today in New York. That's according to two people familiar with the meeting. Netanyahu also expected to meet with President Trump at the White House tomorrow. Now, President Trump says a peace deal for Gaza is close to being finalized. The 21-point plan includes a ceasefire, the release of hostages, and a proposal for post-war governance. With us now is CNN political and national security analyst David Sanger. He's also New York Times' White House and national security correspondent. David, good to see you on an important weekend. So it appears Arab countries in the region seem to be on board with this plan so far. But what's your perspective? Can President Trump get Netanyahu to sign on?
Well, I think there are two questions. One is, will the prime minister sign up? And I suspect he will, because he's betting that Hamas will not, and he'll be able to continue his operation in Gaza City. As you said, it's a 21-point plan, but the first point is that Hamas releases all 48 hostages. About 20 of those are alive, and the remainder, sadly, are not. At that point, Hamas has got no leverage left, and very hard to understand why they would do that if they think the Israelis would then turn around and eviscerate the leadership in Gaza City, which is what's going on now. We're at a point where 90% of Gazans have been displaced in some way, where the humanitarian crisis is huge, and there's nothing in the plan that addresses ultimately a Palestinian state, the discussion all last week at the UN.
Well, meanwhile, some Arab countries appear to be suggesting that any Israeli annexation of the West Bank would be a deal breaker for this agreement. Can President Trump, though, keep Israel or Netanyahu from doing that?
Well, it's going to be one of the interesting questions here. The president was pretty clear last week. He said, I will not allow them to annex the West Bank, basically saying this conflict can't spread further. But I think Prime Minister Netanyahu has rightly figured out that President Trump is not really interested very much in enforcing past commands of what Israel would or would not do. So I'm not sure how seriously he will take that. Perhaps he'll take it quite seriously. And second, the president himself moves, oddly enough, from sort of an observer status, saying, this isn't my conflict. He says this about Israel and Gaza. He says it about Ukraine with Russia, to episodically trying to go directly insert himself. So he kind of ping-pongs between these two positions. And it's not clear right now how committed he is to making this work.
Yeah, that's well said. It seems that there are times, again, in both conflicts where he seems to enjoy being mediator-in-chief, and others where he, again, likes to back away when things get tense. I'm curious, David, though, can you shed any insight onto what a post-war Gaza might look like? I know we've heard reports that the former Prime Minister of the UK, Tony Blair, could play a role in some sort of governing authority. What more are you learning?
So some of the proposals that are around, initially the United States under the Biden administration said the Palestinian Authority should run it, and Netanyahu rejected that. And certainly the Palestinian Authority has had its challenges running what it's doing right now, including in the West Bank. So then there's been thoughts about having a sort of technocratic government set up with the aid of some of the Arab states, overseen, as you said, by Tony Blair and this group, but unclear exactly what the relationship of that would be to the Palestinian Authority, how many of those people would be Palestinians themselves, and whether or not they would be willing to be governed that way. I think the Prime Minister Netanyahu, based on his previous statements, would tell you that Hamas would be a threat to such a state, and he'd have to go out and wipe out the Hamas leadership anyway to avoid it from toppling any authority that wasn't them.
All eyes are going to be on a very, very consequential meeting at the White House tomorrow for this conflict. David Sanger, thank you so much for sharing your expertise as always. Appreciate it.